Got
Recording
it.
in progress.
Hello.
Hello. Recording in progress.
Recording is in progress.
I just love Zoom.
Great voice.
It is so. I love all this technology. You know, we can meet across the oceans and have these beautiful, in-depth conversations.
Yeah.
Welcome, Soreya.
Hello, Janet.
We're sitting in your Zoom room, and I'm welcoming you to my Zoom room, so it's not going to work.
Welcome to my Zoom room.
Oh, it's awesome. We are. I want to introduce you, Soreya, to my tribe, my homegrown primal tribe.
Awesome.
Because at the moment we are talking about the ancestral tenets, the 9 ancestral tenets to health and wellness, and really experiencing a great life. And one of them is breath work. And I've met you through your breathwork experience, through your breathwork program that you run online, and also you have courses on and face-to-face as well. You're also one of my best friends, so we're sort of, this is the brag room.
A little biased here.
So we can talk about each other and rave about each other, but to get your work out in the world, it's really important to me because it's part of the way it's contributed to my life experience. So welcome.
Thank you, darling.
Let's talk about what you do and why you do it.
Yes. So the why is probably the most important part. I held a breathwork workshop yesterday in Mount Maunganui called the Breath Experience. And it's called an experience because we're not just sitting at the front of the room talking anymore. We're actually taking people through a very, very deep and profound journey, actually, a very deep healing journey. So what I noticed myself saying yesterday to these women as I was watching the transformation take place in the room and women coming out of these pain points was that I genuinely care about people. And I've gone through so much suffering in my own life through my own mental health journey and physical health and loss and all the things that we humans go through. And I've kind of turned the tables now, and I live really in a beautiful, vital, healthy state. But I have this deep passion and desire to support people to come out of their own suffering because I've gone through the journey myself, and I have the tools. I've found what works on a really fundamental and powerful level.
I like to find keys that work. I was talking about this last night with some friends about, we all have varying amounts of trauma and stress that we've been through our lives. And some people are really traumatized and they've got a whole lot of dark night of the soul journey experiences that they need to go through to pop out the other side. But the trauma the trauma's done. It's in the past. Mm-hmm. So tools to go look at the trauma and then look to the future and transition from the past, feeling the trauma in the body, to the future, looking towards the future. And you're having the tools is really key to be able to do that.
It is. And the old way of dealing with our challenges, our issues, our suffering was through talk therapy, was through psychiatry, psychotherapy, counseling, and those modalities have their place. But we need to dig a lot deeper these days because the stress that humanity is overwhelmed with has doubled, tripled, and we need to become more self-empowered. So gone are the times where we look outside of ourselves to the doctor for the diagnosis. We need to stop taking pills, or at least shift our awareness around our own health and well-being and start listening to our bodies. The greatest medicine that man and woman has been gifted is our breath. Hundreds of years ago, we didn't have allopathic medicine. The ancient teachings, the Hindu teachings, the Buddhist teachings, they knew that the breath was medicine. And somewhere along the way that got lost, and Western medicine has, come about. And there's definitely a place for that. I'm not saying that, but as a breath practitioner, I certainly know the importance and the benefits of the different breath practices, which there are over 1,000 different breath meditations to pull on, and you hone in to very specific points. So, you can say, I've got arthritis in this joint in this hand. And as a yoga therapist and breath practitioner, you go in and you go right hand side of the body, hand, joint, middle finger, and you can hone into that specific point.
No,
So it's becoming, the breath practices are becoming much more beneficial these days than just going and getting your quick fix, take a pill, go and see a specialist that's going to diagnose you and tell you something that may not be true for you. And that's what I'm passionate about. I'm sick and tired of hearing people being given death sentences when I know that we can actually heal ourselves. And that's a huge thing to say when, someone has been given a diagnosis of cancer or an autoimmune disease. But I wholeheartedly believe that we can heal ourselves through breath, through exercise, through diet, through
absolutely,
awareness.
And that's the flag that we fly here too, is that, moving away from the standard food pyramid and the narrative around food to coming back to ancestral eating is really key. And being able to put your feet on the ground and have ancestral practices of breath work that have come through the ancients that we can incorporate now into our daily lives, just opens us up to a whole lot more of an erotic life, like an experiential life, one that we can breathe and feel our cells coming alive. And it's freaking exciting.
It's very exciting. And if you look at the Eastern cultures, they dance every day. And, the Hindu tradition, they eat seated on the earth and they eat with their hands. They're so connected to the elements and one of those elements being air, being the breath, and they do breath work and meditation every day. And we're so far behind the 8 ball. But I'm just really excited that breath work and these Eastern practices are slowly coming through the Western culture.
And I remember that when yoga sort of first started, and it was East meeting West, and now it's part of our daily life. There's yoga studios up and down the country. But the specifics about Kundalini is different to the yoga that's offered mainstream. So talk to me about Kundalini.
Yeah, so thanks for bringing that up. So yes, I am a Kundalini Yoga meditation teacher. Kundalini means, it's a Sanskrit word for life force. It's the energy that sits inside of our body. Everything has Kundalini. So the trees have Kundalini, the clouds have Kundalini. And when we tap in to this life force within us, this reservoir, through our breath, through pumping the navel point, or through sitting in a specific posture and using these different hand gestures, we're activating the natural life force within us. And we have, the trillions of cells in our body. I think it's about 70 trillion cells. And we have these wee cell receptors on the top. And as we breathe, the cell receptors open, they lift off, and we empty out the old stored stagnant dis-ease. So you might have a cluster of cells that have created a tumor, or a cluster of cells that are creating pain in a specific part of the body, or a cluster of cells that are creating like a disconnect in the heart, or whatever it might be. And so through breath work, we are opening these cells up, releasing, purifying the cells. And so Kundalini Yoga is a specific practice that encompasses 22 styles of yoga within it. But there's a lot of breath work, there's a lot of mantra. So we're reprogramming the mind, changing the brain chemistry, changing the body chemistry. We're balancing the glandular, the hormones, the immune system, the nervous system. It's a very holistic practice, working with what we call the 10 bodies. So your traditional style of yoga, although all yoga is really good for us, but the traditional style is very focused on the physical and maybe a bit of pranayama. But Kundalini takes it beyond that. So we're working with the 3 mental bodies, 6 energy bodies, and the physical body. So it's a very vast, varied style of yoga. And when people can, sort of put aside that word Kundalini, because for some it's like, oh, that sounds a bit spiritual or scary or sexual or something, and just know that we're tapping in to the reservoir of our own life force vitality, which is exactly what we need to purify our body, to clear our mind. We need to clear our subconscious mind and to live a healthy, vibrant life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. And, you mentioned the different bodies, and like that's going to blow some people's minds, because like I have a body and it's only one. So what do you mean about, like, I know that's another conversation, and I know that that's one thing that you teach, but just a brief body description. Energy.
Yeah, so for most of us, sort of relate to this physical body that we're walking around in, but we have the three mental bodies, the negative, positive, and neutral mind. And we either sit mostly in our negative or our positive mind, but with all the stresses and overwhelm that life is offering for our growth right now, we have to learn to be balanced.
Yeah.
We have to live in our neutral mind, and we have to clear what's called our magnetic field, or most people would know it as the aura, which is all of the pranic body, the subtle body, the auric body, the radiant body, like the magnetic field that sits around us that creates our glow and our radiance. Like, I don't have blusher on. This is a natural glow from pumping my blood and expanding into my radiant body. And when we're in our radiant body, we begin to glow. And then we begin to bring people into our lives that also glow. We bring lots of abundance and prosperity and joy and love and laughter and connection.
Yeah. So you can tell when someone who's in their radiant body walks into the room.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm here, you know, and it's captivating and it's alluring, and it's like, oh, what's that person got that I haven't got? So it's about my practices and my spiritual practice, my physical practice, just to be able to, in the understanding, but also be able to practice that every day, so that I am in my radiance and I am in my gorgeousness as I walk through the world.
Yeah, and it starts with the breath. The breath is what brings us our glow. You know, it's like putting gas in the car and then pumping the gas. Like, the car is not going to go without the gas, and it's not going to go without you putting your foot down. Yeah. That's what the breath is for our body, or for our bodies.
So can you take me and whoever else is watching us on a little breath journey right now? How hard?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so a little bit of it in a sun breath. So if you take your index finger of your right hand and block your right nostril, and just take, let's say, 12 really powerful deep breaths in and out of your left nostril. And take a deep inhale. And now suspend that breath and draw in what's called the root lock. So you're engaging the navel, the anus, the sex organs in and up. You're consolidating that energy, and you bring it up to the third eye point, the point between the eyebrow, and you sit here and focus here for a moment. And then you just gently exhale and release. Relax the hand. And notice what you feel. And just share with me, what do you feel just from that short little 20-second breath?
I feel very grounded in my feet.
Yeah.
And slightly tingly all over.
Yeah, beautiful. So what we've just done is we've brought prana, so your natural life force, into the cells of the body through what's called the sun breath. Yeah, so we're bringing that breath up through the left side of the spinal channel, and it's bringing clarity. It brings depth. Breath is very grounding, but very awakening at the same time. So when we talk about the tingling is the oxygen going to the brain.
And so when you talk about having the tools,
yep, that
would be one of the tools. Like, you know, you could be sitting in the car or in a moment where there's a little bit of a trigger in the body that someone said something, or your car's not starting or something. You could stop and you could do a breath, something like that, or that. Yeah. Just very briefly, and come back into the body. Yeah. It's exciting, isn't it?
It's very exciting, and it's free.
Yeah.
You don't need to take a pill.
And then all of a sudden you're back, here I am, and I can make some logical decisions.
I think the most important thing about the breath is that people just aren't aware of what is available to them, and the importance of deepening and lengthening your breath. When you have longer breath, you have a longer life. You only get 670 million breaths in a lifetime, which is about 25,000 breaths a day. And what I said to these people yesterday is, like, the quicker you're breathing, the shorter your lifespan is. So just knowing that one thing, to ponder that, like, we need to slow our breath down so that we can have a longer life. And that in itself is enough for me to become really aware of how I'm breathing, when I'm breathing, why I'm breathing, obviously, to stay alive.
So tell me about your next workshop. What's happening? Can we join in? Can we sit on the mat with you? And
so I'm coming to Christchurch. We're just looking for a beautiful yoga studio that will help support this work, and then we'll put a date in place. And I'm in the process of bringing the breath experience alive online. because there's so many people that are looking for this work, and I've been traveling around the country delivering it to different parts of the country. But yeah, there'll be an online breath experience coming live.
And how do people find your online courses?
soulsanctuary.co.nz.
Yeah. Excellent.
Soreya James.
Easy to find. Oh, I love you, sister, so deeply. Thank you so much for spending time with me.
Always.
It was brief, but I think we covered quite a lot of ground. And we'll see you online. And we'll see you soon in Christchurch.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Let's stop now.